Thank you.
Audio check.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah, 1 second.
Okay. Good evening, sir. Growth is letting go of that which is familiar, and yet changing the status quo is something that is not everyone's cup of tea. Even then, there are quite a few people around us who have stepped out into unexplored territory just because they want to make a difference in and around their community at large. And in the process of doing so, they have ended up making a name for themselves and become torchbearers of sorts, helping others find their own paths. One such individual, whom we are very fortunate to have with us today, is Rohil Singhvi, founder SimpliClarify. His startup, SimpliClarify, helps youngsters make educated future choices and seek the required guidance and mentorship they need in order to do so, consequently helping them further their chosen professional aspirations with the best resources available to them. With this, I would like to extend a warm welcome to our guest speaker, Mr. Rohil Singhvi, founder SimpliClarify. Thank you, sir, for joining us today. Good evening. Today I, Yugmita Katyan,
And I, Tanish Chauhan,
would like to welcome you on behalf of Dream Merchants VIT. First off, we would like to express our gratitude to you for taking out the time to be a part of our event Startup-Paathshaala, Episode 2, which aims at cultivating intrinsic skills and acumen in young, innovative minds. Besides that, I would also like to extend a warm welcome to all my fellow mates who have tuned in this episode from several different colleges to learn more about the grueling process of setting up a startup and to develop the much required skills in order to make their dreams come true.
So diving right into, sir, what prompted you to set up SimpliClarify? What was your line of thinking at that time of conceiving SimpliClarify?
While I was doing my job, so this idea came to my mind that time. I used to get a lot of messages from students, from my alumni college about resume review or maybe how we can develop some skills so that we can land a job which you already have. So I used to believe that a lot of students require help in these aspects where I feel there's a gap between the students in college and the world outside that, the industry. So we felt that why not create a platform where mentors who have actually achieved something. By achieved I mean who are currently working somewhere or are maybe doing their masters abroad should provide the mentorship, should provide the valuable lessons to students who are in colleges, and that's where the idea started.
So, when did you realize that you wanted to create an interactive mentorship platform for students? What went on behind the course of action that you followed?
So initially it was very important to understand whether our hypotheses were correct or not. What we have thought is actually required or not. So we interacted with a lot of students from our own college, VIT, and students from other institutes to understand whether there's a need for this product or not. And that's where we developed our product. We hired a team of tech people. So we had a team of 4 tech people at that time, and that's where we started building a product. And it
Mentorship platform for students, and what exactly went on in your mind? What was the course of action that you followed?
So, as I said, the first thing which we did was to talk to the users who we feel will be using our product, because this was just a hypothesis in our mind. So it was very important to understand whether users will be using it or not, and how we will develop it. So after we have created that these all things should be there on the website, on the platform, we hired the team of team of people who can build our tech, and that's where we started promoting a product that's when we started to learn more on what we can also add to our product. And yeah, that was the journey.
That sounds really interesting, sir. So moving on.
In the earlier days, how did you assemble the first team to provide mentorship to the students?
Yeah, so initially, like as I graduated in 2019, so I already had a lot of friends who were working in different jobs, or some of my friends were working, studying abroad, doing their masters. So we contacted them, asked them to be mentors on a platform. I think we just had 15 to 18 mentors during that time, and we just launched our alpha product. Received a really good traction that time, and that's when we started onboarding more mentors. But yeah, started with family and friends.
So you started with 15 plus mentors, but now you have like over 500 plus mentors. So that has been a great journey, sir.
Yeah, right.
So again, coming to the journey, what have you enjoyed the most about starting your own company? Did you get?
Actually, you're not audible. Your screen is stuck.
Sorry, did you get the question? What have you enjoyed the most about starting your own company?
I think there's a lag in your voice. I can't hear you.
Okay. I'll repeat the question. What have you enjoyed the most about starting your own company?
I think the whole experience of it from starting till now. Most importantly, the environment we are currently in, interacting with different entrepreneurs, different CEOs of companies who have made it, from zero to one, talking to investors from different domains. That actually gives you a, wider perspective towards things. Most of us, as you know, we are very early. I'm very early founder, so we have kind of a tunnel vision towards things. But talking to people, going into networking events actually broadens your perspective. Interesting in the whole startup ecosystem. Apart from it, it's very nice when we talk to the users who have used our product. So which actually helps us understand what more is required, or if there's some changes which needs to be done. Yeah, that is really interesting.
Continue with the journey. Sir, your platform SimpliClarify makes use of user-friendly and engaging notions like clarity coins and career twins. Could you explain for our audience what do these concepts and how do students benefit from them?
Okay, so career twins are basically people who have actually achieved what a student aspires to do. So we have recently launched a feature called AI-based digital twin, where we take some parameters from students, like for example, which university are they studying in, what tier of college that is, what branch are there, that student is in, for example, computer science, electronics, and most importantly, what are the future interests, what are the goals, what fields do they want to go into, and if they're given any exams, maybe GRE score, GMAT score, or CAT score, and obviously their CGPA. Based on that, what we do is we simulate their journey with the journeys of our mentors who have actually achieved different things in life, and we recommend students with various career paths via that. For example, based on your interests and based on your academic profile, we can recommend you MS in Business Analytics or job as a software developer, all these things, right? With the percentage at top showing that this is the percentage that people like your profile have actually, gone into these career paths. So every career path will have career twins. These are people who have walked that journey. For example, MS in Business Analytics. So these career twins will be people who are actually pursuing that. Rather than talking to someone who has not been there, just have numbers and facts with them. It's better if a student talks to someone who is on the other side and achieved that. So those people we call career twins. They are your career twins, and they can help you guide towards your goals. And clarity coins is something which we launched so that to make it more pocket friendly to students. So whenever a student signs up, we give them some clarity coins, and you can use it to avail the first booking. You can use it as a discount. You can also do a booking for your friend. If you feel your friend is confused about the career decisions, you can actually buy them clarity coins, give them referrals, and that's when they can also book a session. You can do that as well.
So, what qualities do you look for in mentors for the students? Like, what qualities, based on what criteria do you select mentors for the students?
So we have divided mentors into three different genres. First is jobs, where if so basically a student has three different choices, right, after the graduation. One is they sit for placement, get a job, or they go for higher education abroad, right, or maybe in India do a master's, or they start their own startup. So we have mentors who are currently pursuing their masters from 12 different countries in different courses, and people who got jobs, placement off campus or on campus in India in different companies, so that if a student is planning for placement for that company, they can actually have a word with them, get mentorship on how they can also achieve the same thing. And then entrepreneurship. So any startup founder, if you want to interact with someone, if you want to start your own startup, we have them on our platform. In the process of getting mentors, right, one thing which is very important is we understand, are they good at communication? Are they good at telling their story? And yeah, so that is one thing which we check. And also, we have a questionnaire where we just see that whether they are biased towards something or not. If they're unbiased, then they're onboarded as a mentor also.
Okay, continue with this. Sir, I have personally always held the belief that success is a relative term. It is defined differently from people from different walks of life. Having said that, I am really curious about to know what does success mean to your company and as whole as for you as individual.
So, success for SimpliClarify would be when every student, whether they will be in school or they are in college or maybe any working professional, whenever they are doing a career transition, by career transition, I mean, if someone is moving from 12th to a college, or someone moving from college to a professional work or a master's, they should be thinking about SimpliClarify, that they can find anyone matching their goals on SimpliClarify. So if that happens, that would be a success for us. So that will only happen if we have different kind of mentors on our platform, so that students can avail different opportunities, and they can interact with them. Yeah.
And so, success to you as a person means as an individual?
So for me, it's just I think it's just personal growth. I think I feel I should be creating more products and services and creating an impact on the society. So if my startup or anything I build, if it changes someone's perception, or creates an impact on the society, changes someone's routine into a meaningful way, and I think that is a success.
That's a great answer, sir. So, moving forth.
What key activities would you recommend entrepreneur to invest their time in? How can someone work on cultivating that's one work that sparks that businessman acumen that sets a successful startup founder apart from the rest?
So I don't have the answer to the second question. I wish I knew how to become one thing, which can make you a successful founder. But yeah, I think the most important thing is to understand human behavior, because if you do that as a founder or as an entrepreneur, you understand what you need to build, what are the places you need to put your product into, what are the difficulties people are facing right now, and how you can also create your product and sell it to them. So I think that is very important, to understand the psychology of students, from students or any target audience which you have. So that is very important. Apart from it, networking is really important, I would say, because you need to interact with a lot of people who have made it big, to understand how you can also do the same. Because we feel that we are mostly living in a bubble, not obviously not the COVID bubble, but in the bubble of our own world. And it's very important to break it and talk to people to understand their perspective of what you're creating. So yeah, those two things are really important.
So, knowing what you know now, is there anything you would have done differently when you were starting out?
No, I don't think so anything. But yeah, I feel sometimes that I should have started much earlier. So I was working in a corporate job for 2 years, and I think from the day one and from the college days, I wanted to start something of my own. But yeah, so I still waited 2 years to start this. I think I should have done it before. Yeah, everything is good.
That's great, sir.
Sir, your motto is simplify your doubts, your decisions. Clarify your doubts. In today's world, even with increased sources of information itself, I would like to know what was it like for you when you were starting out.
Who did
Who
you
did
rely on for guidance? And as so many of your peers now rely on your platform, who is your go-to person during that phase?
So, so during the whole process and actually in college, so my co-founder, right, Kamal, so we both were actually there for each other and thinking about what to build. So we used to interact with each other, every day after our working hours at office. And so yeah, we used to brainstorm on the ideas, and there was no we used to cold message people on LinkedIn, some co-founders to get guidance from them, but obviously most of them were busy, and that is what I think our idea is now, to help that process at ease. Uh, but yeah, we both, I think my co-founder and me were there, in thinking the whole idea in the initial stages, and we were very lucky to have our initial investor, 100x.vc with us, who actually made us from a so-called a student to maybe an entrepreneur, because they widened our perspective. Apart from just funding in terms of money, they provided us a lot of mentorship, which I feel is really required for early stage founders. They actually opens your vision, show you a lot of things, show you big pictures. So I think that was very important for us. Yeah. So they have been our mentors.
So, sir, in your experience, what have been the recurrent struggles that startup founders often face, and how have you overcome those challenges to reach where you have today? I mean, you have had a long journey so far. There's still a long way to go, but so far, like, how have you overcome whatever obstacles you feel that startup founders often face in today's world?
I think getting the hiring the right team is very, very important, and it's very difficult to judge someone, just by two or three interviews. But we have been very lucky, as I said before, with the team. The people we have with us are, really outstanding, and it's very important for a startup, an early stage startup, to have someone, hire someone who see us as, in a longer way, not as someone, just coming in and taking out money, as a stipend and just going away. So it's very important if you find someone like that. And so we've been very fortunate with that. But I feel it is very important for an early stage startup to find the right team. I mean, apart from skills, it's very important that they have the same vision as yours, and they should not, you know, think themselves as an employee and more towards a part of the company, so that they can also provide fresh perspective towards the idea. And I think it's very important that whenever you're hiring a team, they should be from different background. For background, I mean, someone, and someone maybe an engineer, someone an MBA grad, someone done a commerce degree, because it provides you much more deeper insights to a different world. So yeah.
That's great, sir.
Sir, having role models like you to look up to is one of the prime catalyst in others choosing to embrace their own dreams and goals. In a nutshell, what have been your takeaways from your journey so far? What would you like to budding entrepreneurs to keep in mind as they try to emulate your success?
So I think being patient is very important. We often feel that when we start, we get success in like 1 month, 2 months, or maybe like 3 4 months, but it's not the reality. So you don't rush on it, but and don't give up on your dreams, but be patient, and most importantly, don't lose yourself in the process. You'll always be interacting with people where someone might tell you that this product should not even be existing, but you need to keep faith in yourself, and don't lose yourself. And most importantly, don't stop learning, and don't be shy to meet new people, interacting with with new people. So that is very important.
So, you already stated that how you always meet these cynics and these cynical people. So, sir, What is your reaction when, in the earlier days, I'm pretty sure that you would not have met all the people who shared your opinion, on the startup, on Simply Clarify. What was your reaction? What was your response to those people who weren't on board with the idea? How did you get people to come on board? How did you deal with cynics as a whole?
So one thing which I don't know who said it, but uh, it's if something is important enough, you do it even if the odds are not in your favor. So I think this is a really nice thing which maybe some entrepreneurs should go forward with, because if you believe in something, and obviously it's not like if you need to talk to your customers to understand. If obviously your customers are saying that this shouldn't exist, then obviously you need to think something else. But yeah, there will always be people who will say that this won't work and all. But the people who will say who will use your product, you should keep that in mind. Maybe it's not like you need to create the product for everyone. You need to understand your target audience, just build the product according to them, and in future you might pivot or maybe change something, add something more to it to widen your audience.
So, sir, having asked that already, having asked that, like, how do you deal with cynics, I would also like to ask you a question on the other side of the coin, from the other end of the spectrum. Who has been the most impactful figure in your journey so far, and what advice, what is the best advice you've received, so far? Who has been the most influential or significant figure in your journey so far as an entrepreneur, as a startup founder?
I think like I follow people on Twitter, just read what they think, and also it's been Kunal Shine that way. But personally, I think it's been my my parents, and especially my mother. So she runs two businesses, and I feel that if someone at that age can do that, why shouldn't I be doing something which I like? So that's where my mindset got in, that we should be doing things which we like, because as you said, it comes from this that same thing, as you said, what has been the advice you've been given. So I don't remember who gave it to me, but it was like, this is your life and it's ending 1 minute at a time. So when you have that mentality, you'll always be doing things which you like and which are productive. So yeah. But in general, in startup world, I do follow Kunal Shah and Elon Musk, obviously. Yeah.
Yes, sir. So another question that I had was in mind that sometimes it's extremely difficult to discern feedback, as in how much of it is negative, how much of it is positive, what suits your needs at the present time, and how to be really flexible with feedback. So I really wanted to know, how do you deal with constructive criticism, feedback, and how do you discern the naysayers from the people who actually matter? The people who actually have your interests in mind. How do you discern and how do you take it?
So so we have actually done more than I think 100 pitches so far, I would say. So in those, in many of the times, obviously we face the issue where we were told that this shouldn't exist, as I said before, right? That this is not at all gonna work, all the negative things. But there were at least 5 to 10 people who believed in that, and obviously they are now investors on with us. But you obviously need to take the negative feedback as well to understand what actually is wrong. And I think that has helped us. In some time, in some of the meetings, we have actually understood that okay, this is actually wrong, and we should be changing it. And we have actually worked on it, and we're still on the same process. But yeah, it's very important to get that guidance. Getting that negative feedback as well, so that you can know what more you can build on. And one more important thing is, uh, I still talk to the users who book sessions on our platform, so that I understand what actually is the perspective of a student when they think of Simply Clarify. So that is actually very important to understand from the user's perspective. So you should have some calls with the users directly. But yeah, there are a lot. You obviously will face both sides of the coin. But yeah, you need to learn from the negatives and implement those to make it positive.
Yes, sir. Also, sir, you talked about how you made 100 pitches. While that is an impressive number, so you must have quite an experience in making successful pitches. So I really wanted to know what, according to you, is the most important component while making a pitch? What's most important ingredient in making a successful pitch? In helping make sure that your pitch gets through to the other person. What is the most important component according to you?
I think it should be like I've seen a lot of pitches and they have like paragraphs written in it, like long paragraph, and I don't think any investor have the time to read those things, right? So it should be, just maybe one liners or two liners with more vectors, with more images. So initially we also had very, if I see it right now, it was something that I won't even open now. It was that kind of a deck. But as we evolved, we have made it, just maybe one lines in each, slides. So I think that is very important that you should be clear, on point with whatever you're writing, and very importantly, you should be, sure on what your vision is, and you should have a difference between, what your vision is and what your mission is. What are your objectives? What is your target market? So you should be sure of what your target market is, and you should have numbers in it. But you need to show, you need to show the bigger picture to them, and not, that you're doing a project for like 2-3 months. You need to show the bigger picture. What are your like 5 years plan and all those things. Yeah.
So it's quite an action-oriented approach, if I might add. So going
Yeah.
forward with that, how did you like? Again, you said you talked about the market, how you have to have numbers in the market. So when you were starting out, what sort of numbers did you see in the market? I mean, what sort of potential did you see that? How can you connect? What sort of numbers did you see in the market when you were starting out in the beginning?
Like network connecting.
Yeah, like how? How did it all begin?
So I sorry, I didn't get the question.
How did you
Do I
connect your
know?
network
So, like,
to start this kind
ho-
of startup?
how did you? What were your initial steps towards building your network, building your company, building brand startup? Simply
To
clarify.
start this startup.
To
Yeah.
start the startup, what were your initial steps for brand building?
Okay, so brand building, I think, is it's really really important for any startup, and you have to have a very creative marketing team. We've been again, very fortunate. We have an incredible marketing team. By marketing, I mean campaigns which you run, or what kind of posters you portray towards the user. Because that is what creates an image of your startup. So because most of our target audience is Gen Z, and they don't like to see orthodox and very formally written posters, so we tried to be very cool with it. Put Bollywood ideas into the poster, and also, yeah, so I think that what helps you create a brand in Gen Z, I would say. um, so that has helped us. Apart from it, the your investors actually help you uh, in a lot of marketing stuff as well, and they have seen the whole process, for a lot of startups. So I think, yeah, both of those things.
So I'm really glad to hear that you have a fantastic marketing team. Having set up and organized this event, I have also realized the value of what a great team does for you. This entire event has been created by the backbone is a great team. And having observed that, my next question to you is on the lines of what does team collaboration look like in your company? And how valuable has team collaboration been so far? Like, how would you describe the team spirit, the team collaboration, the dynamic in your company?
See, it's I think the most important thing, and uh, you'll be shocked to know that when we started and when we had our initial people of the initial tech team, so there were 4 people there. uh, we didn't even meet for we haven't met yet actually. uh, so we didn't meet for at least 2 years. I mean, it's been 2 years, I think, 1.5 or 2 years. We didn't meet. We just used to be, on video call, and we didn't used to show our faces as well. We kept it as a, as a tradition that we'll only do it when, something really big happens. And we actually did it, quite a few months back. So, but having said that, everybody in different cities, that time because of COVID, we were still able to create this. And what we also did was having some team bonding sessions every now and then, where to break the ice, so that different pillars of the team interact with everyone, and they're not hesitant to get take help from them. So we do those sessions very now and then. but teamwork is essential, essential for a startup.
Yes, sir. So, you talked about the career twins, the clarity coins, and such new innovations. You also talked about how very recently you celebrated something along with your team. Are there any new technological, innovations coming up which will make the students' life easier? Whoever connects to the platform, anything new that, what's the use of AI like in your platform? Because you have been using
So
AI quite
yeah,
frequently.
we actually want to cover the whole aspect of a student journey, not just restricting it to mentorship, maybe something more on after that. So we also plan to do that via AI only, recommending students a lot of things which they might not even know that they can pursue. So that is in the plan, and also we are opening a platform for K-12, like 11th and 12th standard school students, which we feel needs a lot more mentorship because they live with their parents and in their own community and not very well versed of what's the world outside, which courses should they take, what all things are available, which college is best. So we feel that is also something which can be useful for them, and we plan to implement AI there as well by asking them, few questions to understand their, their future interest, what they can pursue, and then recommending them, multiple courses because you might see a lot of courses are being introduced now which were not back then, like data science, BTech in data science, I think, then electronics with neuro linguistics and something like that, right?
Internet
There
of
are a lot of
Things.
things coming up, and a lot of students in maybe tier 2, tier 3 cities are not even aware of that. So we plan to expand market to that, to them, and create digital twins on them as well.
All right, sir. So with that, we would now be opening the floor to questions from our very patient audience for the next 10-15 minutes for them to get their queries answered by Rohit. So if anyone has any query, they can share it in the live chat box. So the live chat box is now open for more queries. We'll be having some soon. Just okay. So we have received one question that sir, can you describe how what were your college days like? Like how did the when you were going through the motions in college life, again you student of VIT, what were your college days like and how did you conceptualize at that point? Like what went on your mind when you initially started? What were your college days like and how that impacted your transition to becoming a startup founder?
So I think my college days only made me to become an entrepreneur because I used to attend a lot of hackathons and makeathons during my college days. From the first year itself. Like I used to go into any hackathon or makeathon if it's happening, and won quite few. So that actually made me realize that I think I am obviously not good, but I should pursue building things, because I feel that I like doing that. So more than academics, I was more interested in these events and being part of some clubs and chapters to be do more than academics. So yeah, I think those things I did in my college days. Yeah.
So, sir, in follow up to that, what were your keen takeaways from hackathons? Because I have myself gone for a hackathon and I have learned a lot. I'm not saying I'm a pro yet, I'm still learning a lot. But what were your keen takeaways from the hackathons you participated in? What was the
So
experience like?
the experience was fabulous. So it was, I think, like 24-hour, 36-hour hackathons. You need to work straight, for the whole time. I think it was very collaborative events. There were a lot of people, and the mentors who used to come because as you are a student, if there were mentors who were working in different companies and they used to come. So that was a really nice experience, getting that exposure to people. So that was very important that time, and I think apart from that, the problem statements, building on problem statement were really cool. There were some really, really nice problem statements. And yeah, so yeah, that was it. Hackathons.
So, sir, if I may ask, which area problem statements of which areas interested you the most? I mean, there is the Internet of Things, there's machine learning, there's data science. Which areas interested you the most, and why did they do so?
So it was, I think, IoT, Internet of Things. I created, I think, most of our products on IoT. There was a famous intelligent bin which we created, which I think we won in 2 or 3 hackathons. Uh, so yeah, computer vision, then IoT were some things which I was very interested in. As I was into electronics and communications, so I was, aware of all the products, like Arduino, Raspberry Pi, and all those things. So yeah.
So IoT, and you still talked about hackathons and ideathons. Are the people your teammates, or your teammates are again a part of the company or the part of Simply Clarify? Whom did you go with for the hackathons?
I used to most of the time take people who are good coders. So most of them, like I think all of them are now working. They have their own jobs. But I was very fortunate when I met Kamal. So I think during there's an event called Makeathon, right? Select Makeathon in
Yeah.
VIT. So when we won that, I think we got a grant from I think TBI, VIT TBI, and that's where I met my co-founder Kamal, and we started our creating. We actually created one startup in VIT as well. So we started the journey from there. So I met my co-founder via that only via Makeathon.
Right, so, so having said that, like hackathons, meetathons, what other clubs and chapters were you interested in as a college going student?
So I was part of TEC, the Electronics Club, because my branch and I was really interested in those things, creating things, uh, and I was there in entrepreneurship cell VIT, where obviously we used to interact with a lot of startups, and that's where I also understood what actually a startup is, what entrepreneurs are, what do they build, and I got the initial exposure to this world via ECell VIT. Those are some good chapters.
So opening the floor to more queries. Opening the floor to more queries. We have right. So, sir, what qualities do you look for in a like you found? You said that you were really lucky to find Kamal, who you found through TBI, VIT, TBI. So, what qualities of your co-founders actually made it possible for you to collaborate with them on such a holistic level and take your startup to where it is today?
Sorry, you got froze. I think
Oh, I'm so
I couldn't
sorry
hear the
about that.
question.
I'm sorry about that. So, what qualities of your co-founders and your teammates were like you said you were really lucky to find your co-founder Kamal through VIT TBI. What qualities actually helped you, make take your company in a very holistic manner and take it to where it is today? What qualities actually attracted you towards that in your co-founders?
So, uh, we actually had a very similar thought towards life. We should talk about that a lot. Like our interests. We both were very interested in ancient history, then space and science. So that actually connected us. We used to think a lot about startups. We used to read a lot about startups. So that were actually similar thing in us, and we both were not very interested to do a job and start something of our own. And he comes from a healthcare background, and I come from a different background. So I think it is very important that you find someone, you work with someone who provides a different perspective towards things. So yeah.
Sir,
That's
what
great,
books
sir.
you would recommend for a person who is thinking of to starting a startup?
See, I'm not a very big avid reader, but yeah, there's one book, two books actually is a very important. Is one is Blink,
Okay.
uh, which actually shows you what which can actually increase your thinking abilities, and as I said, understand human behavior much more better. And second is not related to entrepreneurship, but obviously just humans in general is I think Sapiens. That is like my favorite book. So that's something.
What were the points we should keep in mind while pitching an investor?
I think the TAM, I mean, the total addressable market is very important, and what is the revenue opportunity in this market? Because obviously, investor would like to know that what are the revenue opportunities. Then you should be very solid in terms of your business plan. What is your business model? What all types of things you can do to make the money? That is very important. Apart from it, it's very important to show the investor that you have a diverse team of diverse people in your team, who can complement each other. So team is actually very, very important.
So again, like your motto is simply clarify. So how did you come up with the name Simply Clarify?
Uh, I'm still not sure how did it come up with it because it was a long process. I think it took us more than 20-25 days to come up with this name. There were some weird names initially, and finally we just at the end of the day we were like we have to come up with something. Let's just finalize this. So yeah, and obviously it actually resonates with what we are trying to do, simplifying your decisions and clarifying your doubts. So yeah, it resonated with the same as well.
Uh, so how did you manage your time when you were studying in VIT, and how when you guys were coming up with Simply Clarify, like how did you manage your time in between all these activities that you participated and dabbled in?
So Simply Clarify was not in the picture when I was in college. Uh, I was, I was just focused on, placements because every student in college is, I feel most of them are only focused on placements that, I should get a job. So I was, just that similarly, didn't even think that, okay, I might, I always dreamed of that I will do a startup, but yeah. So most of the time, uh, it was mostly, like after lectures, I used to go play cricket in the evening and, you know, read about, see a lot of YouTube videos about startups. I was following like crazily Elon Musk. He was, I think, at the peak of his time that time. So used to get inspired by that and something very uh, used to see a lot of TV series on entrepreneurship, Silicon Valley, then TVF pictures, all those things. That actually motivated me towards this. And I used to read a lot of business studies, how a startup started and where they are now. So yeah.
So with that, your experiences have proven to be really enriching and stimulating, and this session has been really impactful. And I'm quite sure that it has been an eye opener for those like me who are looking for directions so as to best achieve their goals and dreams and overcome any obstacles they may face. So, thank you so much, Rohil, for being with us here today and sharing your input with us. It was really wonderful interacting with you. And unequivocally, we have all learned a lot of things from you regarding startups, the challenges that come with it, your journey, the requisite skill set for entrepreneurship. And I am really grateful for this experience. I heartily thank and appreciate you for being a part of our Startup-Paathshaala episode 2 and sharing your journey with us. Thank you for simplifying our choices with your guidance and clarifying our doubts regarding our future. We wish you the very best for you and your Simply Clarify's future endeavors.
I would like to thank you for our audience for actively participating in this event and being a part of this journey. Needless, so with this, the second episode of this much loved event Startup Pathshala draws to a close. Once again, behalf of Dream Merchants VIT, I thank you all for joining us. This event could not have been possible without each and every one of you, and we would like to express our heartfelt gratitude to all of you for being with us every step of the way.
So thank you so much, Rohil, for joining us. Thank you to our audience for tuning in.
Yeah.
So stay tuned. Startup Paathshaala will be right back. Thank you, Rohil. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me. Have a great day.
Yeah.
We wish the same for you.
Yeah.